Social Development, Honorable Moshood Larry Oshun, members of the State Executive Council that are here, Commissioner, Permanent Secretary. Let me stand on the well-established protocol because today is only for one set of people. Build the youth, sitting down. Build the youth, build the youth. Our people, we. No youth, no youth. 3 votes are for ourselves. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Please be seated. No protocols here today. You know, let me say to us and express first to, where's the book they gave me? Yes. Thank you. Let me first express my gratitude to all of you, the various organizations that are here, the various youth organizations that are here, Association of Lagos State Students. I'm sure you have not been called, but I'm acknowledging you first. Association of Lagos State Students, acknowledge you. I think you need to give a round of applause for yourselves. Thank you. The Youth Academy, thank you. The Ville Youth Forum, the various NGOs, the Boy Scouts, the Girls Guide, the Boys Brigade, all of you, various organizations and associations that have been here today, Red Cross, African Lads, Youth Wing of our various religious bodies, all of you. I want to express from the bottom of my heart how truly grateful for all of you to come out even on the public holiday, to come out to something that is important to all of us, to come out to something that is critical to our fabric as a nation, to come out to a discussion that is germane, not to me only as the governor, but to each and every one of you and to the teeming number of your other friends and brothers and sisters that cannot be here today. I want to express the deepest appreciation of the government and the entire people of Lagos State to all of you that have honored this invitation within the last 2-3 days, and you have all turned up here very well. You know, they've given me a 77-page speech, but there's no speech today. Today is not a day for speeches. Today is not a day for me to recount all of the things that government has done. No, they've shown it on the screen. Today is not for me to talk about all of the various challenges as a governor I've had to deal with in over 2.5 years. No, it's not. Today is a day of reconciliation. Today is about the youth. Today is about a day in which we want to take ownership of our future. Today is about not really forgetting what the past is, but indeed coming together and saying to ourselves, we want to have a future together. We want to resonate together. We want to build together. We want to forge ahead together. That's what today is about. Today is about a new Lagos. Today is about a greater Lagos. Today is about all the conversations of all the millions and millions of youths that are Lagosians that don't have the opportunity to be here today, that we all truly represent, to say that indeed all of us have agreed that together, working collaboratively, we can build a society, we can build an ecosystem that all of us will be truly proud of. And so I want to thank, please be seated. I want to thank all of the things that I've heard here this afternoon. From the very great Professor Wahab Elias, who gave us a keynote address and has given us the background and a very rich synopsis about conflict resolution. Prof, thank you very much. I know how passionate you are with the conversation of Lagos. I know how truly passionate you are about your students and ensuring that indeed we build a future that is resilient, that is inclusive, and a future that all of us will be proud of. I want to thank you. But more importantly, I want to thank all of my panelists that have come forward this afternoon. I think you are the high point of one of the things that I've taken. And I've taken notes very, very seriously on all the points and all the suggestions and ideas that you have brought forward. And I'll try and touch on them one after the other, just for you to know that this is straight from the heart. It's not about any prepared speech. It's about the reality of what you're giving to me today and for me to take back home and go and deal with. Seun, very militant, very activist in him, came up and said that for government to ask for its citizens to be patriotic, government itself needs to show patriotism. Government needs to have an ability to show to the citizens, to show to the youth that this is what we're bringing to the table. And he said to us that indeed the solution is about ensuring that education, health, the human capital, that we do not relax on it. I want to assure you soon, I've taken a picture with you here to say that I know that you're a very cerebral person. Education and health are the two principal things that hits our budget the most. Year on year, we'll continue to increase our spend on education and health. And I will invite you when we're going to commission next month to one of the finest schools that we just built in Lagos. It's in Edemoro, it's in Ibeju. You'll be happy when you see that school. And it's a brand new school. For the first time in a long time, we're building brand new schools. And we're not just building furniture or building new classrooms. We're actually building brand new schools that nobody has ever taught before. And indeed, in the last 2.5 years, we've taught over 1,000 schools that were renovated, were built new structure to. And so I take your point very seriously that human capital in health, in education is the way to go. And we need to have an open door. That's why I don't keep any door. I don't have any door, but I need to say that to all of my staff and ensure that government needs to have an open door for this. I tell them, when you send a note to government, if you cannot come, tell the people that I cannot come. Tell them nicely and say that we have received your note, but unfortunately we cannot attend your event. They will feel better with it. They will know that indeed they've communicated and you have resonated. So I want to apologize that we have not responded to your note over the last 2 months, but you've taken your desired picture here, and I'm going to read that's your proof. Damilola, you know, that's a lady that I met about 3 years ago, and I think we've lost touch. You know, I actually had to check my phone to see that is it the same Damilola Jacob. And I met her during my campaign over 3.5 years ago, but she came with so much energy. And she said to me then that, Mr. Governor, you need the youth more than anything before. And she was part of our campaign. But like I said, we lost touch. I've not seen her in 2.5 years. Thank you very much, Damilola. But Damilola mentioned something. She said it is from cradle to adulthood that we need to take the conversation back home. From when we are from infant, what kind of children are we rearing? What kind of infant are we growing? What kind of preschool or primary school or secondary school are our children with? What kind of parenting are we giving our children? And he had said so that very importantly that we need to look at all of the components of SGD. He talked about SGD 12, 16, we talk about building strong institutions. Without strong institutions, we are failing. I know what it means to have, because strong institutions will outlive you. When you have institutions that are strong, it will outlive you whatever, no matter what government you have. And I take the point that indeed we need to leave behind very strong institutions. And she said the last thing, that we need to have engagement, formal youth and informal youth. I like that word, right? Youth that we can reach maybe through social media and the rest of it, but other youths that we need to deliberately go and look for in their nooks and crannies and need to have an engagement with them. Damilola, I thank you very much. We talk about peer review, we'll continue to do that and ensure that they do not just push them to peer pressure. Thank you very much, Damilola. I talked about what Prof had given us. Prof said that we need to look at things from different perspectives. And he made allusion to what his other Professor Elias, talked about, where we all see things from our own point of view. You can only see what I'm wearing in front of you. You don't know what my path looks like. And based on what you see, you take a decision or you make a conclusive decision on my back, which you have not seen. So indeed, what I take away from there is that let all of us be able to do a role play. Say to yourself, if I'm governor for one day, how will I behave? What will I do differently? I also should be able to say to Prof that if I'm professor in LASU for one day, what do I need? What do they need that I need to provide for them? So let's do a role play and see ourselves as if I'm in this other person's shoe, how would I take this opportunity and how will I turn around? But more importantly, professor, of course, is a professor of crime, science, and all of you. He taught us that curriculum and secondary level conflict resolution is one of the things that we need to look at. And we need to have investment in conformity. He talked about, it's like prelude to adulthood. When you are all of your life, you're used to obeying rules. You will not, jump traffic lights. You will not drive against traffic. Why would you want to do that? And when we go to other countries, we obey the rules. We obey traffic lights when they stop. We obey and say that this is a one way, you should not take a one way. Those are the kind of things that he's saying. He says that if we continue to behave in a conformative way, then it will be difficult for people to just come and change our mindset, and we begin to see a more orderly society. Prof, thank you very much for your useful ideas and for the views and the perspective you've given to this discussion. I move over to my lawyer, Sister Bemisola. Bemisola took it first from our view as a conflict, a dispute resolution lawyer. I think maybe she's one of our lawyers that works in Office of Dispute Resolution, which is in itself an alternative means. As against going to the regular court, when you go to a dispute resolution, you are agreeing and you are surrendering to say that both of us have issues, but we are believing that the skills in this room can help us resolve those solutions. She gave that very strong perspective as a lawyer, and she went forward. She went further to say that we need intergenerational dialogue. I took that away. She said we need intergenerational dialogue that will go beyond a generation Z or generation. Let us take it from right from top and let's cascade it down and see what are the best things we can use from each other along that line. And she also said that we need to do a lot of documentation. We need to, like Prof also said, we need to have a lot of monitoring and evaluation. She talked about what the panel is doing and that we should not just carpet it and make sure that the recommendations are just gathering dust on the shelf. That we need to indeed bring out the salient points that are there and be able to aggressively monitor and evaluate what are the things they are asking us to do. And I want to assure you that's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you very much, Bemisola. Mopalaji means Ojuju. She talked about, Mopalaji is a prof. You just give me another clue. So Mopalaji talked about peaceful resolution from government and from the people. And was very critical. He said to us that I'm going to be very blunt and I'm going to say to it as it is, that government has a fault, people has a fault. There has to be more representation, that the people want to have a better voice. The people want to have a seat in the room. The youth want to have a seat whenever conversations are going on. You do not want us to shake your head in your absence. Is that not so? You want to be in the room when decisions are being made. But I want to say and assure Mopalaji that even in the cabinet of Lagos State, there are 4 people that are under 40. The commissioner for finance in the cabinet is a 34-year-old person. The special advisor in information technology is a 35-year-old person. The honorary commissioner for agri is a 37-year-old person. So we deliberately are looking for that class of people in the cabinet. If I go down to my senior special assistant, over 25 of them are under 40. Several of them are in their early 30s. But I understand what you mean, that we need to do a lot more. We need to do a lot more engagement, and we need to continue to listen and make sure that the people who are building the future for, that we're building it and we're building it together. And I think there's something that you also said, the need for us to continue education, the parents, we need to ensure that we look at what we're doing, the police, and at the end of the day, government needs to take responsibility. We need to be able to take ownership and take responsibility. That's why I'm standing here as your governor. Because a lot of people too, like you said, will not believe that I'm here. I'm taking full responsibility and I'm taking ownership of all of the things that you've recommended for me today. I think I need to go to what Ms. Ojoju said. She talked about the governor being very humane. Please give her a round of applause. She said, I'm very humane. Thank you very much for those nice words. Right. But she said that we can do a lot more, and that we can give a lot more, from where we are. And she said that we need to look at emotional intelligence. That the pressure of the youth today is not the same pressure that we had 20 years ago. It's not the same pressure that we had 30 years ago. But there's so much pressure on them. There's so much peer pressure. There's so much social media pressure that indeed we need to see it from their viewpoint. We need to be able to take it in from their viewpoint and see things differently. And that is only when we put ourselves in that we know that indeed these are the kind of challenges that they have. And it's only when we do that and we do it well that we're able to situate the peace that we're talking about, and that we need to stay humane. That we need to, whatever it is we're doing, we must have a collaborative tendency, and we must continue to give the young people. We shouldn't give up on the young people. I certainly want to assure you, I'm not giving up on the young people. They are the reasons that I'm here, right? And I want to thank you for those words. I think it was Mobolaji that said, peace for silence should not be taken for granted, or silence for peace. And these are not just simple words. Peace for silence should not be taken for granted, and also silence for peace. And it's because we believe that indeed when the two go hand in hand, when we know that in the time of peace and the silence that comes out of it, we should not take it for granted. And that when people have silence, right, it's because they also want peace to reign, and that both must continue to work hand in hand. Professor Mobolaji, I want to thank you for those words. I want to thank Professor Sam. I know you are not a prof yet, but very soon, for also directing the conversation here this afternoon so well. I want to say to you that indeed all of your points, I was my own rapporteur, all of your points that you're giving to me, there are points that I'm taking back home, and there are points that I will develop to ensure that we continue to have, because that's really what the symposium is. I'm supposed to come here to listen, to get proper feedback from you, and go back home and go and see how we implement those feedbacks. I want to thank Professor Wahab Elias again, for setting the tone for today. But I cannot end this address without first, without also thanking a few of our youth that have come up for a few remarks. The Lagos Youth Symposium, the NYCN, they're giving me their own. I cannot write out, but they're giving me their own in 14 pages. And I'm sure there are things that I'll read, and there are things that, they will make sense for me to do to aggressively, think about rebuilding Lagos for greatness. President, thank you very much. Oshegonyo, thank you for the suggestions and for the useful points that you have pushed on to me. And our youth ambassador for Ibile, thank you very much. I've met her. She's an extremely very intelligent young lady, and she's leading a team that is next to none. I want to thank you, and I want to say to you that all of your points are put out to me, and I'll continue to rely on the advice that you continue to give my government. Finally, to really thank all of you. You have come out on an afternoon that you could have been with your family. You could have been at home. You could have been doing other things. But because you felt that this is important for you, the conversation about the greater Lagos, the conversation about ensuring that we build the greatness of Lagos together, you have all set aside what you're doing to come and join us, to listen, and to have a joint conversation that will take forward. I want to thank you very, very much.